Hi, this is Lynn McCool. I just wanted to check in with you. I hope that the week is going well for you. And I've had some questions about the team forming activity as well as assignment 3. And so I just wanted to briefly discuss what you are doing this week as well as thinking ahead to finishing that assignment 3. So you should be going into the week 4 folder here. This week, of course, we're working on writing a proposal. That's assignment 3. And we're also forming our teams and getting ready for some of the other assignments that will happen later in the semester, which are team-based. So this week we are looking at writing proposals as well as forming the teams, as I mentioned earlier. Take a look at this screencast that will provide you with an overview of proposals. I have provided a free Gantt chart Google app link, so you can click on that and it'll take you to some free apps that will allow you to create some fairly nice Gantt charts for your proposal. You also have this discussion board. Many of you have already participated in that, in which you are looking at both formal and informal proposals, choosing one kind and then analyzing it and then commenting on at least one other person's post by the end of the day on Friday. It's really important that you take a look also at this screencast on teaming, so establishing good teamwork and workflow and collaboration. Assignments 4 through 8 are team-based assignments. So yes, even though this is an online course, you will be in teams. So if you haven't already signed up for your team, you need to do so right away. The last thing that you're working on this week is actually this team forming activity. And in this activity then you have several things that I'm asking you to do. And one of those things is that you are going to start to work together as a SMART team. So after you've watched the lecture screencast on teaming, you'll understand that there is a difference between being a SMART team and a lame group. And so we want all of the teams to be SMART teams. That means that you are working together individually and collectively to plan out and structure the activities that you're doing as a team and to accomplish tasks in an efficient manner. So this particular activity says, use Google Docs to accomplish the team forming activities listed below. And of course this is due by Sunday, end of the day, 11:59 p.m. I suggest that you meet for at least 1 hour, either in person or virtually, to accomplish the following. So if you're not physically able to meet together, which some of you might not be, that's fine, but then using the Google Docs collaboration tool, decide on a time when you can all meet and get on Google to, you could use Google Hangouts to, initially kind of introduce yourselves, or some other tool like Skype, but figure out a way to meet together virtually for about an hour. And during that time then, I want you to work on creating this document. So get to know your team members, share contact information, and this is very important. So what's the best way for your team members to get a hold of you? Is it via text? Is it via email? Have one person, the person who is interested and willing to be the team lead, or sometimes I also call it the project coordinator. I use those terms synonymously. But the person who's willing to be the team lead, have that person open a Google Doc, share it with all of the team members and with me. And then in that Google Doc, you're going to include a number of different items. One of the things that you should include in that Google Doc is your discussion of time schedules and time zones and work and study schedules. So you want to figure out times when all of you can collaborate together, as well as times when perhaps different individuals are working separately on a document, but you do want to discuss that. Secondly, you need to decide on a team name, and you'll report that out in this Google Doc. I call it a memo. So the Google Doc should be formatted as a memo, the one that you share with me and the other team members. You don't have to create a second memo to accompany this. It's just the Google Doc is the memo, so just format that with to, and then my name, from, your team name, and then the subject line, team forming activity and contract. You also want to think about team roles. So after you've listened to the lecture on forming teams, team communication, decide which roles each person is going to assume. And it is safe to assume that every person will be a writer, but then some of the other roles are more fluid. So some people may act as researchers, some may act as editors, some may act as designers, and then just one person will act as the team coordinator or project coordinator or team lead. Okay, so one person should sign up for that role, and that role does have extra duties to it. So if you take on that responsibility, know that you will be responsible for contacting me at various points throughout the semester when I ask for a status update about your team and the work that you're doing on a project. Okay, so you need to figure out team name, team roles, project coordinator, and then thirdly, you're going to write a team contract. And again, all of this is occurring inside of this Google Doc that you've formatted as a memo, so you can just put the contract right in there. And in your team contract then, you want to discuss as a team what you want to put down as your principles that will allow you to succeed in your work this semester. So consider carefully the rules that you write down, because you're going to be using those, referring to those throughout the semester to monitor your own progress and also to resolve issues. So again, I've kind of reiterated here what should go into that Google Doc, the memo that you're creating there in the Google Doc. You should have your team name. You should include a brief 2 or 3 sentence statement of purpose for your team. And that statement of purpose can be both general and specific. So generally, obviously you want to work together effectively and efficiently as a team. More specifically, you may look at other aspects of this course, doing well in the course, or you may even look beyond the course to gaining experience working and collaborating on a team so that you may be able to apply those skills to an internship later on or a job down the road. Either one or any of those could be acceptable statements of purposes, and you may even think of others. You also want to talk about your team policies and your team roles. So again, identify the individual team roles, who's going to be doing what on the team. And then talk about performance. How are you going to evaluate performance? What level of performance will be considered acceptable? As far as projects are concerned, remember you're going to be doing assignments 4 through 8 together as a team. So what procedures will you use to complete your projects? How will you ensure quality? And then any other kind of ground rules that you think you want to set up as a team that will help to guide your performance and help you to resolve conflicts and divide up the work. Then finally, you can electronically sign the Google document, and again, if you're all collaborating together within this 1-hour period, then each person should be logged into the Google document. You can just choose a font, a distinct font to sign the name with, and so each member can sign the Google document. Then your designated project coordinator or team lead, project manager, should share that signed copy with me, your instructor, and here's my email again. So it's lbmccool@iastate.edu. So just share that link with me. Okay, finally I want to touch just briefly on Assignment 3. Assignment 3 is not due until next week, so it's not due this Sunday, but next Sunday. And remember, this is your proposal, and you're going to be using the problem statement that you've written and turned in. You'll be using that as the beginning part of your proposal. I will be getting feedback to you on your problem statement, and you can revise that based on my feedback. And please do revise it based upon my feedback before you insert it into the proposal here. But remember that the proposal has 3 steps to it. So the first one, which you have already created in your problem statement, is to establish that a problem exists. Then secondly, suggest a solution, and then thirdly, show that you can implement that solution. We've given you some information from the text, so Chapter 6 from your textbook, in specific page 86 as well as pages 101 to 104 give you some examples of the type of proposal that you'll be writing. Your proposal should address these points, so the purpose and background, so that's your problem statement again. A proposed solution for that problem, so a description of the solution, the ways the solution solves the problem, and a list of tasks to implement the solution. Resources needed to implement the solution, for example, personnel, facilities, and equipment, and then costs of the solution, and those could be either fiscal or time. In addition, although it's not mentioned here, I'm asking that you also include some kind of Gantt chart or a bar chart that would help to visually demonstrate steps 2 and 3. So in other words, how are you going to implement the solution? Show that via that Gantt chart so that you would show time versus the task needed, or the task being done and the time needed to complete that task. As far as submitting your proposal, remember just normal, readable, 12-point typeface, such as Times New Roman, Cambria, something like that. Use 1-inch margins, single space the text. Put your name and title of your document in the top right of the first page, and just create that running header. Most of you know how to do that in Word, so just create a running header up there with the page number. And then save your file as last name _ first initial _ topic proposal. There are a couple of you in class that have the same last name, so please do last name first initial. That way I won't confuse the different assignment submissions. Again, just like in your other assignments, you need to include source material and cite that source material inside the document, as well as include those sources in the bibliography. You will carry over the bibliography that you created for your problem statement into the proposal. And so if you need to add sources to that as you're writing the proposal, you find that there are other sources that you're bringing in to support the ideas that you're discussing, that's fine. Just add it to that original bibliography that you created. Now there is a third part to this assignment of the review of proposals, but we're not going to worry about that right now, and I'll talk about that on a later date. So again, just to reiterate, assignment 3 is not due this week, but it'll be due next week in week 5. And it is an individual assignment, so every person will turn in a proposal, and your team assignments do not begin then until week 4. Okay, so if you have any questions, please contact me. Thanks.